Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. Well, I've just come back from Marrakesh and it was absolutely insane. Honestly, retreats are life-changing. My next one is in June in Marbella. I literally have like 2 spaces left, maybe even just one. I'm not sure. I think it's about 2. But if you're interested, then drop me a message. I'll put the link on the show notes and you can go and check out what they're all about. But honestly, if you want a trip of a lifetime, then you have to come and join me. Anyway, today on the show, I have Kat Martin. Hi, Kat.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you here. So Kat is one of my very good friends. She is an absolute powerhouse. She is a skin clinic owner, a mentor, and she is the queen of memberships, which I'm so excited to dig into.
Love that.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Really good.
I can't believe you're here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. And this is my first podcast.
How exciting. Welcome to the world of PR.
Thank you.
Love it. So let's do an intro because obviously I know everything about you, but not everyone does. So Tell me about you, what you do.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
So I'm Kat Martin. I am the owner of the Face Tonic Skin Clinic in Essex. And about a year ago, I started my mentor business, which I absolutely love. And I help other businesses in skin and beauty, laser, make more money and work less, basically. I've got 2 daughters, 2 very demanding, like the worst managers I've ever reported into, daughters. And I'm recently divorced and that's it. That's me.
A divorced life with 2 babies. How's that going?
Like lovely. So honestly, when I was married, my husband did like 0% childcare and now I have 50% childcare. So it's like, honestly, it's kind of wonderful. And he and I are on really good terms. So I'm not having to go through a messy divorce. Kids are okay. We're okay. It's better than I expected. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Because it can be super messy, right?
Yeah.
But for you, it's been really nice, smooth sailing. Like it's all working out, which is brilliant.
He's a good, very good person, which I think really helps. But yeah, like I've heard some absolute horror stories. So I'm just glad that we're okay.
And I think it's so underestimated of having your children 50%. Like I loved it.
It's incredible. And I feel really bad because I'm now going to like soft play with these mums who are like frazzled, like they're doing everything for everyone. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't want to be like unsportive, but I just don't relate anymore. Like I feel like a new person. Like everyone should either, no, not get divorced, but like get more childcare because I feel like my brain works again now. It's a lot, like the mental load, you know, of a working mum or, you know, any mum, it's a lot for anybody. And now I'm like becoming the old version of myself again. It's weird. I've got so much time and I'm like, what do I do? Because obviously I work all the time and I love my work, but I don't just want to work all the time. I'm trying to like figure out like my new life.
And I think when you like are doing all the things like the childcare, you know, dinners, bath, bed, running the businesses, it is really kids' work. There is no in between. No. I find that at the moment actually. Whereas when you have got that more time, it's like, oh, can I take up a hobby? What else do I like doing? What makes me happy?
Well, I've been like having a slow morning and like you see these slow mornings on Instagram, but I now can actually have them. Like my youngest daughter wakes up at 5. She always has. So I've always done a 5 o'clock wake up. And when I worked in the city, that was my wake up time as well. But I'm casually getting up at like 8 a.m. sometimes. And I'm like putting on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on in bed and drinking a tea. And I'm like, oh my God, how is this my life? Like it's amazing.
I love that. I beat you for divorce. So let's go back.
Okay.
You was in corporate.
Yes.
So How has this worked? Because corporate to
God.
beauty world.
Yeah. So my background, I worked in recruitment for 15 years, which if anyone knows about recruitment, like it's so hardcore. It's so aggressive. I can't believe I did it for as long as I did, but so grateful for like all of the lessons and the training now. So I worked in London for 10 years and I was so focused on becoming like a managing director. Like that's what I wanted to do. And I worked for a few companies, like did well, climbed all of the, ranks, whatever. And I got to this point that I'd been working towards forever. And I was running this office, had like massive team. And I was like, shit, I hate this. Like I absolutely, you allowed to swear on this? I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
I hate this. And then I worked for a man who was like, it was almost like a comedy sketch, how just awful he was. He was such a bully, like he was horrendous. And at this point, I'd had my daughter Margot. She would cry when I'd collect her from her childminder, almost like, who is this woman that's taking me away from my lovely childminder? Honestly, it was awful. And I was in a really fortunate situation that my salary, we didn't need it to pay the mortgage and, we could survive on his salary. And I just said, like, I just don't want to do this. I was getting the train to London 4 days a week. Like, I hated it. And I almost felt like I'd sold my soul because even though I had this massive salary, I was like, but what? I'm not seeing my kid and I feel like a shit mum. Like, oh God, I feel like I could like cry thinking about it. It was horrible. Then I got, so then he said, I think he was just sick of hearing me moan about it every day, to be honest. He was, oh my God, just leave, like just leave. But at the time, we'd built a house and we were waiting for the mortgage. So I couldn't leave and because my salary was needed for the mortgage. It was this whole thing. Anyway, I decided I was going to leave. And then I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? All I'd ever done was recruitment. And you can't do that part-time or not in the way that I wanted to be part-time. I swear to God, I was sat in the kitchen drinking a tea and I got this download that was like, you should open a skin clinic in the garden and call it the Face Tonic. Like, I swear to God.
Just like that, random.
It popped into my head and I was like, wow. And at the time, I think I'd been married a few years before and I really wanted my skin to look amazing for my wedding. And I couldn't find anywhere locally that just specialised in skin and that was like really good. I do know now there were a couple of places, but at the time I couldn't find them. And I was going to all these like really wanky places in London and I was like paying like, I don't know, once my bill was like £600 for like an oxygen facial and like a moisturiser with a screw top and like no active ingredient inside.
They saw you coming, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was like next to Harrods and it was just like not the vibe. And I thought, I honestly, I know that sounds crazy and I'm not someone who usually gets downloads, but it was like open the Face Tonic because the name's weird. It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so there was nothing from that, just literally having a tea in the kitchen.
Having a tea in the kitchen and thinking, what am I going to do? So I was like, right, I'm going to do it. And I've always been good at listening to my intuition and kind of having a bit of a like, fuck it mentality. Like, let's just see what happens. And obviously I understand I was in a very privileged position that my husband could cover the bills and I could be a bit like that.
Yeah.
And then, so I started doing all my skin training and went to some like horrendous places, then found out I was pregnant with Vivi. So my poor husband was like, oh my God, she's left her massive job in the city. We're having another kid. Like it was a lot. But I started, like I did the skin training, started just doing facials in the garden, had like a lovely one room cabin, which was just so gorgeous. And I just kind of started. I had a lot of friends locally in like makeup, lashes, hairdressers, and they were so supportive. And I say to them all the time, like, you guys built my business. Like I didn't have a network in Bishop Stortford where I was. All of my network was in London. And they used to say, oh, go and see Kat. She does these amazing facials. And it kind of started from there. And then I got rid of someone's acne. It was like, I swear it changed my DNA. It was so good. She felt like a new person. I felt like this is the best feeling that I've helped her feel this good. And I wanted to learn more about skin concerns and how you treat them. And that's kind of where it took a turn from being like nice facials in the garden to let's make you feel like incredible. And yeah, I mean, now we're known as a skin transformation clinic and the place that you go to if you've got a problem that it seemingly like can't be fixed by anything else.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh my God, what journey.
I know.
So that clinic you had in the garden, is that the one I was in?
No.
So how did you get from there to the next one? Because
so that's a bit of a traumatic story, really. So we started having one room in the garden and it was always going to be me that did it. And then anyone that's got young children will know they're always ill. There's always a problem. And I started to become really unreliable to clients. And I was so fully booked that if I had to cancel something because one of the kids was ill, I couldn't rebook someone for like 3 months. And like the anxiety that I felt, it was awful. So I knew I couldn't work more and I didn't want to work more. So I hired Lucy, who now runs my clinic, but at the time she was a client with acne and we went on the same acne journey and she's just like unbelievable. So hired her. Then I was like, right, this is amazing. I've built my dream business. I've got the flexibility like to be with my kids. I really feel like I've absolutely nailed it. And when do you ever feel like that?
Yeah.
I never had. I was like, wow. And then someone knocked on the door pretty much and said, we want to buy the house, offered like an insane amount of money. I didn't want to move. This is probably the start of the divorce, really. I didn't want to move at all. And my husband was like, this just doesn't happen. This is a massive opportunity for our family and we need to move. And he'd always had this dream of like being on a ride-on lawnmower. Again, the irony, because the lawn literally was another reason that we got divorced. It takes like 3 days to like properly mow like acres of land. And it became his like full-time occupation. I'm not bitter about it. And yeah, so we moved to the country, which is like the absolute opposite of what I wanted, my personality. But, you know, I always had kind of put what I wanted first. And I was like, he really wants this. Let's give it a go. So we moved to this rural, like literally in the middle of a field. Like,
yeah, I know.
You've been there. Like my best friends there are like a herd of deer and, you know, some badgers. It's like, it was a lot. And then we built, there was like an old stable block in the garden that needed a lot of work. And we moved in and rebuilt the stables. So my kind of negotiation for moving there was that I would go from a 1-room clinic to 3 rooms. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's weird to say my ex-husband because it's all a bit fresh, but like my ex-husband's a property developer. So he could, you know, build something like that. And it was, the clinic is unbelievable. But it was definitely it's such a conflicting conversation because all of this made my life as amazing as it is today.
Yeah.
But it also cost me like my sanity, honestly, my marriage, like cost me so many things as well. But yeah, living in a field with no Deliveroo, Tesco's 15 minutes away is not for me.
It's not for you.
No, even though it is nice to look at the deer every once in a while.
And the automatic, what's it called?
Oh
mower.
my Lord. Yeah, that was a compromise. But honestly, Charles would be on a lawnmower for 3 days every weekend in the summer. And I'd be like, you need to get a grip. Like it's just grass. And it became like this thing that we'd argue about all the time. So he did in the end get a robot lawnmower, but it's probably too late by then. It's cool though, isn't it?
It's cool. I mean, you're in the clinic and all of a sudden the Sphinx moving in the background. I was like, what's that? And it's the lawnmower, the robot.
And it
like,
goes
oh my
all
God.
day and night. All day and night does like a lovely little pattern.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, how the other half live.
I know. Can't believe I'm the other half with an electric lawnmower. That wasn't on my bingo card.
That's hilarious. But your clinic is absolutely insane.
Thank you.
3 rooms.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Like it's beautiful. So you've gone from obviously this light bulb moment in your kitchen while you're drinking tea, to then hiring Lucy, getting this 3-room clinic, and now you have a whole team. And you're not in the clinic, are you, yourself?
No. So I haven't been in the clinic for about 2 years, like doing treatments, but I love like the client piece. So I do all of the skin plans. I'm the first person you speak to if you're going to come into the clinic. And I still have I speak to the clients all the time. And I feel like that's really important. I still have my finger on the pulse with that. I mean, not my team's incredible now. I mean, Jesus Christ, we can come back to that. When you summarize the journey, it sounds like great, but there have been so many,
of course,
challenges and low points, and times where I've thought I honestly don't know if I can carry on doing this, and is it even worth it? And obviously it is, but there've been so many things, but I am not good at being consistent with days of work. And as I'm nearly 40, as I'm getting to this age, I'm actually learning to embrace who I am instead of trying to be something I'm not. I'm actually but you're not reliable if you have to work those days. Whereas now, if I need to take a Tuesday off, I can do that and I can make up the time somewhere else. That suits who I am much better. But I didn't ever want to be unreliable to people. Whereas Lucy and the rest of the team, they're the most reliable. They're absolute workhorses, and they're so consistent, and that's what makes them incredible at what they do. But yeah, I think a big part of my growth is actually learning and admitting to myself my strong points and my weaknesses, and just embracing them.
Yeah, just working with it, isn't it? Well, don't fight with who you're not.
Exactly.
So I'm actually speaking to a lot of skin clinics at the moment as a couple of my clients, and they've done the same where they're not actually in the business, but they're still doing the plans for the clients. It seems to be working really well.
So good.
Do you think the client buys into you? Obviously, as the owner, you're super knowledgeable. You're not as fearful as maybe the team might be on, right, you need to do this and this. It's going to cost this and this. Because obviously when it comes to skin, they're buying into a lot, aren't they? It's not cheap.
Well, I think that's actually what kind of made us different, is that we told them everything they'd need. And as you know, we both work in, with lots of women in business. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of awkwardness around money and charging. And normally, you can't have that when you're giving someone the information to get rid of their acne. They need to know the full journey and what it's going to take. Obviously, there's never any guarantees with skin. That's the one thing that makes me love it and also drives me in crazy about skin. But you have to give them all of the information, and a lot of the work I do with my team is about explaining that. I always say imagine you want an extension and the builder only tells you what the front door's going to cost because he feels awkward about saying 20 grand. It's you need to know what you're up against to make the decision of whether you can do it, when you can do it, how you can do it. But yeah, I will say to people very openly, this is what you need to do. And by the way, it's not going to end there, because this is, once you make this commitment, if you have that breakout prone skin or rosacea or something that can always flare up and come back, it's kind of a lifelong thing.
Yeah, you got to keep up with it, right? You got to maintain it.
You have to. But I think the clients just love having that burst of energy from me. They love catching up with me and how are you? And it's always there's always some story or something mental's happened. But then Lucy looks after them, or Holly looks after them, or and they have an amazing time with them as well. But
so they're good with the girls doing the treatment.
Oh yeah,
because I think sometimes that's what some people find really difficult. It's well, I want the owner. If they've done the consultation, so I want the owner. But I guess that comes down to you're believing in your team so much, or that's where you'll get looked after. The client believes that then and trusts that transition.
Also, Lucy is the best at facials, and I am shit at facials now. When you haven't done something for 2 years, I recently went back to the clinic for a couple of days, and I did a 7-hour day, and I thought I was going to die. I was how did I used to do this for 12 hours a day? And my timings were amazing. My facials were amazing. It's anything. When you don't have that practice, and I'd forget things, and I'd have to leave the room. And obviously the clients that I did love me, and they knew I was coming back for a couple of days. And I was guys, I thought this is the worst facial you've ever had. And I'm so sorry. Please, can I rebook you with Lucy? And they were laughing and it was fine. But that's not me anymore. It's so a part of my journey, and it's my baby, and I love the clinic so much. But I really want to make an impact on the world with women in business, making more money, like balancing, not juggling, balancing their kids, their life, and not just their kids and their husband and the food shop and the dinner, like doing something for themselves. And I can make much more of an impact that I want to make not working in the clinic, because that's handled. We're doing all the skin transformations. The team's got everything covered. So I'm like, well, now I can do both. But actually, if you, like, I speak to a lot of people that are like, I'm a control freak. I promise you, there is nobody on this earth more controlling than me. You can still be a control freak and have systems and strategies and all of that in place. And, you know, you hire the right people with that see your goal and see your vision. You can do both.
Yeah, it comes down to that recruitment piece, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and a natural transition of where we go in our careers. Like you start off on the clinic, then that grows, then you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Then you go on to doing the business side, then you go on to opening that second business. Like, it is all a transformation.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we can't do any of that without a team in there.
No. And I always say, like, even, and I don't mean this about my team, but even if you hired 10 people that were half as good as you, that's still 5 extra yous.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm not a workhorse.
Yeah.
Very happy to admit that. So I'm not going to be able to take my business to where I want it to be. Like, you need those people involved. I can't do any admin or organisation whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm basically the sales and like the fun.
Does the sales side come from corporate?
Yeah, I think so. But I've always been a bit of a like, I don't want to say wheeler dealer because it's not that, but I can remember going on holiday as a child and I'm talking like 8 years old and going up to like the jet ski thing on the beach and being like, if I get people to buy a jet ski ride, will you give me like money? And my mum and dad would be like, oh my God. Or I used to, like, this is actually terrible and I can't believe my parents let me do this, but I used to collect money for charity, like outside my house in a bucket. I used to watch the news and see like what was current. And I'm talking like 6 years old.
Oh my God.
And then I used to keep it.
You fraudster.
How bad is that? I'm like, my mum like tells that story quite fondly. And I'm like, Mum, I can't believe you used to let me keep it. Like, you should have made me donate it. Yeah.
So would you say then you're a born entrepreneur?
Yeah. And I've always been able to like my girls are like it. My God, they're top negotiators. Like, and I've always been like that. I've always been able to like back myself and try and like, if I didn't want to go to that, you know, bar we were all going to go to, I would have a pitch for the bar I wanted to go to. And I've kind of always had that in me. But I think what came from corporate was the fight to the top. Like the competitive nature that I have. And ironically now, I don't feel that. I'm all about collaboration. I don't compete with anybody. Like, it's literally like the more the merrier involved for me now. But back then in corporate London recruitment at that time, it was like kill or be killed. And I do think that built something in me.
Yeah.
But I used to go to these pitches and there'd be 8 other agencies there. And I'd be like, I am taking that job. And I would be like the most sparkly, impressive version of myself. And I'd get it and I'd be like, yes, like it was unbelievable. But apart from that, it was all anxiety, stress. So I was like, ugh. But no, I think that really built like a muscle.
Yeah.
Of like tenacity. And even though I look back at the guy I worked for, honestly, he was just so horrible. I absolutely passionately still despise him to this day.
It shows.
I probably always will. But he taught me so much and he made me so strong. He was just the worst kind of bully. And as soon as I got pregnant, I was just a silly girl with a uterus, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he was the start of me being put off men as a whole, sorry to say. Like, he was awful. Then my husband was like not supporting me with the kids and like he was being really like everything was just my responsibility. And I was hearing all the clients moan about their shit husbands and I was like, what's happening out there? Like, this just isn't what it used to be like.
Why is this sex even here?
Yeah, exactly. But like, I'm coming out of the other side of that now. But yeah, that was the start of me just wanting to be around women. But I think all of that fed into then the businesses I started. Like, I've always loved women. I've always been a girl's girl. But now I'm like just surrounded by like these incredible women and they make my life so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
I know.
What a journey. So obviously lots of your business in the clinic is built on subscriptions.
Yes.
Which I absolutely love. So we've been doing subscriptions for a few years as well.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, something that's missing in a lot of people's salons, clinics, whatever business they do. How does yours work and how do you kind of implement that into the clinic?
Yeah. So I think that first of all, if you don't have a subscription, you're leaving money on the table. Like, we live in a world now of subscriptions. Like, you sign up to one thing and you're in a subscription for life, and I can never work out how to cancel it. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that thing anymore.
Oh my God, it's
so annoying. But like, people like that. They like easy. They don't like to remember things. So I started Skin Club about 3 years ago, and it was basically because I found the pressure of starting every month on zero and having staff. I think it was just Lucy at that time, staff to pay. It was still a lot of money. I had babies. Like, I found the pressure too much. And I also wanted to reward our amazing, like, loyal clients and give them something back. So I had a business coach and we kind of designed this subscription together. And now, like, I looked the other day and we take £12,000 a month in subscriptions.
It's just insane.
It's insane. Like,
there's so much money like just coming in every month on subscription and not even your other extra stuff.
No.
Like,
but
so
the
good.
relief that brings me, it's like all the machinery's paid for, the team's paid for, and the clients are happy. Like, I never want it to get disjointed. Like, I love talking about money, making more money, like, you know, all of that stuff. But I always have the client value, experience, transformation in mind. Like, you can make a lot of money and do amazing things for people, like, and you should.
Yeah.
So the subscription, the Skin Club, gave them like this incredible deal as well. And what was the actual question? I've just gone on a massive tangent.
Yeah,
here.
no, keep going for it.
And how does it work?
Yeah, like, I think a lot of people as well think that when they put a subscription together, that it has to be like heavily discounted.
No.
And I'm like, but if you do that, you're straight away making a loss. So you might have the money at the beginning of the month, but if you discount, it's all about adding value, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No.
Otherwise, you are just making a loss just because you've got the money at the beginning of the month.
Yeah. So I went through a really rocky time a few years ago when I got a 20 grand VAT bill that I wasn't expecting.
Wow.
I know. And I think it's the city mentality was, you don't deal with admin or accounts, you just sell, just don't even read it and forward it on. But obviously there was no one to forward those emails onto, so I just didn't. But
forward it to yourself, hoping they'll go to the bottom of the email.
Yeah, I didn't understand that you had to pay VAT whether you were in a profit or loss. And at the time we'd just done the clinic, I knew I was in a loss, so I was like, well, you know, I don't have to pay it. Anyway, so many like amazing lessons from that. What was the point of me mentioning that? Oh, for God's sake.
About the value of what's in a subscription.
Yes, so I had to go through all of my figures because you can feel like you're bringing in a load of money. Like some months I was bringing in 10K and I was like, wow. But actually when you drill down into the materials, the machinery, the cost, the phone bill, the electric, like all the things that in my experience, a lot of people don't add into their margins, actually there wasn't a lot of wiggle room to give discount. And again, I've done sales in the past where I haven't made any profit, and it's like, but why are you working like that to not make any money? It is literally pointless. But again, I'm so glad that I've had that experience because now that's what I teach to my clients and I've learned so much from it. But I don't like discounting things, full stop, across anything. Like, if anything, it like cringes me out. If not from, obviously I love getting like a discount from companies, but I've worked so hard on, you know, this experience that actually I don't want to just discount it, and we can't. We don't make that much money from it. Like the margin's not there. But what we do give our Skin Club are things that they really value that you can't really put a price on. As an example, they get priority booking. In a fully booked business, being able to give someone what they want is Like, that's a big deal. How many times have you tried to book something and you can't get in and you're like, oh my God, it's so stressful. So they are our honeys. Like, they're our princesses. Like, whatever Skin Club wants, Skin Club gets. And we really make them feel like that. So they get the priority bookings. We actually did a Black Friday sale, especially for Skin Club this year.
Ah, clever.
Yeah.
So unless you're in it, you don't get it.
Unless you're in it, you don't get it. But again, that was for us to give back. I wouldn't have done it for the masses because it's too much work for not enough margin. It wouldn't have made sense. But as a gift to them, lovely. They get their facial every month. They also get another light session. They get a free add-on. So we do like a scalp massage or a foot massage. They get a free gift every month. And that is like dependent on what inspirational idea I've had. They get free early access to all of our sales, not just their own one. And they basically can just, whatever they need, like we get it sorted for them, and we do make them a priority because they make us a priority. And I think in business, we're so used to like new sales and new this and new that. And it's like, yeah, but the people that have been with you from the start, like your OGs, they're the ones you need to nurture and look after. And they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders and they're going to tell everyone about you. And like one of the girls came in to the clinic and said she'd been at a Pilates class and 4 of them were in Skin Club. And they're like, are you in Skin Club? Are you in Skin Club? And I was like, that's amazing. And there's a bit of a like prestige about it as well, you know.
People want to be the VIPs, don't they? Of course you do. If there's a normal option or a VIP option, most people want to get in the VIP option, especially with the limited numbers as well. Because obviously we can only cater for a limited amount of people. So straight away people are, I want to be in that gang.
Yep. And also so the way that we sell our Skin Club is like we open close at the beginning of each quarter. So we usually take on about 5 people per quarter, but I will never oversubscribe it. Like 12K gives me, I'm able to sleep at night. Like it's not a money thing. Like that feels great. It's almost like a 1 in 1 out now. You know, when you go to a club and you're cold, it's like 1 in 1 out. It's kind of like that now, but I don't want it. I can't say priority booking and then they can't get booked in.
No.
You know, and that doesn't feel like in alignment with how I am as a person. So yeah, but we've now got our laser too, which has been amazing. And I've done the same model with the laser because I think people do like to spread the cost of things and they do like to be able to budget properly. But I would say anyone who doesn't have a subscription should definitely consider getting one and talk to your clients about it. If ever you aren't sure what to do in your business, I always ask my OGs, my best clients, I'm like, what do you think about this? And some have said to me like, oh, I don't like that, or, oh, you know, and others are like, do it. And yeah, I really take that feedback on board because they are who I'm talking to. They're my ideal client.
Yeah. Did it take time to like build that subscription up? Because I think a lot of people, well, it's common in whatever industry or whatever people will start things. It's not as easy. Maybe a few trickle through and think, oh, it's not working, I'll stop it. Like, obviously you're on the 12K months just from that. Yeah. How long did it take to get to that?
3 years. And again, like in business, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to need to change things. My Skin Club started at £87 a month. We made a loss. It served a purpose because we gave back to the clients that had seen us from Bishop Stortford move to Dunmo. I learned so much about subscriptions and whatever, but it's now priced at 147 for a pretty similar thing. They get 10% off skincare as well. Completely forgot to say that. So we stock Environ. They get 10% off all of that stuff. Which we don't ever discount the skincare or the supplements. So I would say it probably took, like if you launch it properly and you get your pricing right, you can probably get 20 people, I would say as an average, onto a subscription. And then I like to set myself weekly targets. So when I was building it, it would have been just 1 person a week. And even though subscriptions are part of our like modern, you know, way that we buy things and do things, people do still need to have it explained to them. Yeah. So we very rarely make a reel and get 20 sales. I mean, when does that happen with anything? But, you know, actually explaining to someone that comes consistently, you need to be on Skin Club. Like what, you're going to save money. You're going to, you know, get this and this. why don't you do it? And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I think it comes back to the sales and the confidence and just explaining things to people. So little and often. I know that's boring, and it's like when your mum used to be like, be consistent, but it kind of is that. It's like one a week, and then before you know it, by the end of the year, you've got 52 people on a subscription.
Yeah.
It's a 5K plus.
I think having you on has really highlighted the fact of, we are businesswomen, we are therapists, we are skin specialists and all the things, but actually ultimately you have to be a saleswoman.
Yeah. Oh my God. And if you're not selling your business everywhere you go, you're doing yourself a disservice, because Amazon are selling to you every road you drive down. Tesco's, like all these big companies that have, rooms full of the best sales and marketing people in the world, they are selling to you all the time. Like Coca-Cola and stuff have subliminal audio at a frequency where they're basically like putting words into your brain, like buy the Coke. And you're watching a Christmas advert and you're like, wow, how cool. I don't want to be like that. Everyone's like, what's this music, Kat? I feel very high frequency. Oh, don't worry about me. No, I don't want to do that. But it's worth thinking about. Like, if you're too scared to even say, do you want to join my unbelievable subscription? But Coca-Cola's putting high frequency, like shopping vibes in your brain, that's where the playing field's not going to be level.
Yeah.
But I've got so many funny messages that Lucy sends me where we're out somewhere and the calendar comes out and I'm like booking people in. We're at a wedding and she's like, oh my God. And I'm in this like lovely dress and we're doing the availability. And she's like, you're so funny. It's like, yeah, but I've got business.
No one else is going to do it for you,
no one else is
are they?
getting my calendar out. If I don't mention the Face Tonic or like my Instagram or money blocks or a self-development book, that's just wouldn't be my personality.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to subscriptions, you're going to be a guest speaker for Marbella.
I'm so excited.
So excited. So we're going to go into this in so much more depth, aren't we? We're going to have an actual like coaching session with Kat in Marbella.
Yes.
So
it's going to be
amazing.
Vibe. I cannot wait. I know.
Yeah, well, we can map out everyone's subscriptions, make sure that they start them smashing it.
And also it's like the irresistible offer in the first place. And I feel like that's something I'm really good at, is tapping into what the client wants. It doesn't have to cost you anything. It doesn't have to be a discount. It doesn't, like there's always a creative way to like think outside the box and be like, oh, yeah, that sounds really interesting. Like, and I love brainstorming that with people, and each business is different. Like I work with probably 35 coaching clients now who all do skin, and someone said to me on a call the other day, I don't want to be like a carbon copy. And I said, darling, even if you said word for word what I've written down, you'll never say it like me, because we're all unique and we're all individual. So you could have the same on paper subscription, but your like vibe, the wording, the branding, like, so everyone's different. And I love that as well. Like I love how unique every subscription can be. And I mean, we've got loads now. I think we've got probably, 10 subscriptions, but we only promote Skin Club externally. And then we have internally. So I want to teach that as well.
Yeah.
You don't always have to your external marketing strategy versus your internal sales system can be very different, because if I promoted 10 subscriptions, people would be like, what is she going on about?
Yeah.
What is she even talking about? And with laser especially, I don't know why, but I get the ick saying Hollywood all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like talking. I don't know why. And I love having my Hollywood laser. And I don't know what's wrong. I don't like talking about it all the time. So I don't promote those, but obviously in the clinic, we have like an internal.
But when it comes to marketing, you have to be so hyper focused on a select few things, don't you?
Yeah.
Because otherwise everyone is like, okay, I'm so confused. What does that person do?
Yeah.
Which is exactly why loads of people don't know what we do. Like don't know sometimes we have a product range or what that product range entails, or, all the different things we have, because you can only highlight a few things to work well. Then like you said, internally, then everything else comes out.
And when clients are confused or staff are confused, nothing gets sold. Literally.
Yeah,
and that's anyone that's listening to this who's got a team. If your team aren't selling, it's because you probably need an internal document where everyone's crystal clear on, what it is. Like I used to walk in the clinic and be like, blah, 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 that needs to be done, that needs to be done, da, da, da. And I'd walk out like a tornado. And Lucy and I worked really well together. But over the years, I'm like, God, I would hate to work for someone like that. Like, what did she even mean, you know? And it's like getting systems in place and writing things down. And also then it keeps you focused on it as well. A lot of my clients, I don't know if you find this, they make changes in the moment. So they're like, right, I'm going to do this subscription. And then they like add something in and it's like, no, why have you done that? This is what it is. We need to stick to that.
Or it's more they want to add so many different services in, or a facial every X amount of weeks rather than once a month. And I'm like, it's too confusing. Like I'm confused looking at it. So your client's going to be confused. And also everyone's time poor.
Yes.
Like no one's got time to come in for a facial every week.
No.
Like love it if they could.
But no.
Realistically, that's not going to sell because straight away they're going to be like, I would love that at that price, but I'm never going to be able to come to all them appointments.
Yeah, exactly.
So very interesting. So excited about Marbs. All of my clients are as well. So it's going to be insane. I also want to touch on coaching.
Yes.
So you've had coaches. I've had coaches.
Yes.
We actually met through Masterminds.
Yes.
And then physically in person in Marbella retreat, which was absolutely amazing. I've also had you on a VIP day.
Yes.
Wait, how did you find that?
Oh my God, I love working with you so much. So first of all, when I met Katie, we were in a mastermind. And I think this is like any mastermind, you need to take from it what you want.
Yeah.
I wanted to like obviously make more money and grow my business, but I really wanted to make business friends. I've got the best friendship group in the world, but at the time they were either employed or stay-at-home mums. And I really wanted to talk about like, you know, Instagram bookings and like the VAT bill that I'd ignored and things like that. And I didn't have those people to bounce off. So in the mastermind, when you joined, I like looked at you and I was like, she is going to be my friend. And I was like, do you remember? I was like, hi, Katie, I'm Kat, and just introduced myself. Like I loved like everything that you were about. And I think we've got a lot of similarities. I just knew I was going to love you. So we met in the mastermind and then we spoke quite a lot, didn't we? On voice note and stuff. And then when we went to Marbella, it was like, I just had so much fun with you and with obviously our two other friends from our group, and we just had the best time ever. But I think coaching, like number one, coaching, and this is the thing I think people don't understand, it's like someone teaching you what's taken them 20 years in 2 weeks. It's like, why would you want to figure it out yourself when someone could just say to you, but do it like this? Like I would never have come up with my subscription, my launches, my skin transformation package, skin reset. I would never have structured a Black Friday sale, a Boxing Day sale, a New Year's Day. That would not have happened if I hadn't have had a coach and I hadn't have had someone sit me down and take like that mental space away from the clinic and the kids and the life. That's what it is. It creates space for you to actually think about what you want and like check in with where you are on your goals. So I've worked with a lot of coaches. I've been very lucky. I've always taken, I know people that are like, oh, I spent that and it was, I've never had that. But I've always known what I want to get out of something. And when we did our VIP day, like I loved that because you're the go-to person for salons and team. And obviously I'll hold my hands up. I didn't have a fucking clue. Like I literally fell out of a recruitment office into that and just kind of did it. So the things that you spotted in the Face Tonic that were like so easy to tweak and so many ideas that you had, like I loved it. And obviously we were in Sopwell House all day and we had afternoon tea, we had champagne, and it was just like, it was wonderful. But I just love picking someone's brain who's done what I want to do and who's done it for longer, different. Like I'm always open to like ideas and change. And so I love coaching. Like I did a VIP day with someone who specialises in funnels. The word funnel used to terrify me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, we've got loads of funnels running and they're all amazing.
Yeah. It really is. Like it speeds up that success. And I remember in the early days, we're talking now like 12, 13 years ago, I would sit there in the salon, it would be dead, like no clients coming through the door. And I'd be like, but I'd have all these ideas and I'd be like, I wish there was just someone that was like me that could bounce ideas off or could give me a direction. And actually I always used to remember saying, I want a business partner. I just want a business partner that can have their ideas, that can help this workload, that can help this fear that I had every single day of do we open, like stay open, do we close, do we go bankrupt, all the things that goes through your head, when all I needed was a bloody coach.
Yeah.
And it isn't until you get to that point where you're like, you have one, you make that investment, which is always scary.
Yeah.
And then you do the work and you see the transformations and you're like, oh my God, I didn't need a business partner. I didn't need to give half away of my company over. I didn't need, you know, all these other people I thought I needed. I just needed that guidance of someone that had been there, done it, got the badge.
Yeah.
And
I think as well, in I did this, but also most of my clients listen to the wrong people. Husbands don't get it. Unless you're very lucky that you've got a really cool husband who's in touch with his very feminine side. They can't help but think, in my experience, that we're just like having a sleepover with our friends in the clinic and plaiting each other's hair and playing with potions. They don't get it. Like my father-in-law and my ex-husband, who both of them I love dearly, used to look at me like I was crazy when I would have these meetings with them. And their accountant, another like annoying man, would like give
most
me the
accountants are, right?
my accountant is the bollocks now, Emma. She's unbelievable. But yeah, I'd sit with the three of them and think, I'm having to pitch one of the best industries, one of the most lucrative industries in the world. Like, I haven't got time for this bullshit and I don't want to do it anymore. But I mean, also they really helped me out, especially with my big VAT bill. My father-in-law bailed me out beyond, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Keith, if you're listening to this. But they never got the skin and the beauty part of it. And it used to really rub me up the wrong way. And I feel a lot of my clients are like, oh, my husband said, let me check my husband. I'm like, darling, he'll say no. He will not understand coaching. He'll not understand a mentor. He doesn't even really understand your business, truth be told. Your mum will probably be scared and nervous. It's a lot of money to invest. You're listening to all the wrong people. If I listened to all the people that love me, I'd never have left the city. I'd never have set the Face Tonic up. I would never have specialised in being a skin transformation clinic. I'd never have started my coaching business. I'd never have got divorced. But here we are. I'm living my best life because I listened to myself and I went for it.
Yeah.
But you have to just back yourself and just go for it and take from it what you need.
Yeah, it definitely. And I think it's like anything, right? You leave school, if you want to do a job, like, I don't know, a doctor, lawyer, whatever, you have to go to university. You go to university, you learn this stuff, and then you go and get the job. What is the difference? Like, there is really no difference. No. You're putting that investment into a coach for them to teach you what to do and then you to go on to do it.
Yeah.
But let's actually talk about it when people say, oh, it doesn't work, because, okay, there are like not so great coaches out there, 100%. You have to do your due diligence. You have to check them out everywhere, more so than just like Instagram, because that's, you know, not the real world.
Yeah.
But you do have to get a good coach. But most of the time it's because people haven't implemented what they've been taught. Yeah.
And I say this to my group a lot. They're like, oh, what about this and what about that? I'm like, no. Just follow up the DMs. No, there's not. It's the same with skin. There's not some top secret big thing like this hack that only certain people know. It's like, follow up your sales, do your sales, do a good job, go back to people, be consistent. But it's having that accountability, I think, of that. You know, if you're on a group coaching call and you say, I'm going to do A, B, C, D in the next 2 weeks, you're not turning up to that call having done nothing, because you're like, it's embarrassing and other people are doing it. So even for me, like my Black Friday sale, I was like, shit, this needs to be good, because I've got 35 people, you know, that are looking at me for advice on it. And I'm like, wow, there were times when I was moving into my new apartment, I was getting divorced. I did not want to be following up my DMs, but I did it because I was accountable and I'd made a commitment to that group. So, you know, a lot of the time, I think it's that people don't implement, but they don't know how to, or they're scared. And it's like getting to the bottom of, but why are you not doing it? Oh, I feel icky about following up a message in the DMs. And it's like, why? The person's obviously busy and forgotten, and they've said they want to book in for a facial. Like, that is, I see, such an act of service. Hi, darling, in case you missed this, that, you know, that appointment's still available now. Do you want me to book it? I'd be like, thank you. Yeah. It's all mindset and how you perceive something, like I like being sold to. And when I'm sold to and I'm going to say no, I always say, that was really good. And like the wording that you used was really amazing, and keep doing it like that. This is a no, but it's not because of your techniques, because I don't need it. But like you smash that. And they're like, oh, you know, like on the street, those people selling, I'm not quite as nice to them because I'm usually like, no, I can't deal with you. But there's one that does like a knife crime charity. Have you seen them in London?
No.
They're so good, these kids. Like, or they're just, you know, they're not kids, but they're like just young people. And you donate to, you know, like a knife crime charity. And I always do it whenever I see them. And when you're doing it, they're like, do you want to do another one? And I'm like, that was really good. Like, I love that upsell. Like, yeah, I'll do another one. It's a good cause and you're doing really well. So I think sales is part of everyday life. And you should just embrace it. And if the word sales stresses you out, just see it as like service.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not like you're banging on people's doors and being like, do you want a facial? You know, people are coming to you because they want to sort their skin out. Just tell them how to do it.
Yeah, just bloody follow them up. That's it.
Because how busy do you get? Like, I always say to my hairdresser, do not let me leave the salon without rebooking. And I'm always then running late. It's taken too long. I haven't budgeted my time properly and I like run out the door. Then when I can't get back in, I'm like fuming.
Yeah. Well, I always say this with the hairdressers as well, because it's the only place I really go and book somewhere regularly. Like I book like 6 months up in advance every single time.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't have to be scared to go, Kate, do you want to book your next few appointments?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do. Thank you. Yes, I do. Because I know I'm not going to be able to get in. So why is that so scary to do behind the reception desk? I don't get it.
I know. But this is why I'm like on a mission, because I think women are brought up so differently to men about money, about using your voice. Like my girls, I mean, it is kind of biting me in the arse, but they're like so strong already at like 5 and 7. And I'm like, Vivi in particular can be a bit whispery. I'm like, use your big voice. If you've got something to say, you need to say it. Because I'm dealing with women in their 50s and 60s who are like, oh, I can't say that. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
They just say no.
That's it.
And by the way, they don't say no. They just always say yes. And then I start to see the messages come through like, oh my God, I've got 10 new bookings from that, 9 new bookings, ideal clients come in. Like, you know, as a mentor, I'm not in the business of telling you to fuck your business up. Like it just doesn't really work like that. But it's like these are business basics. The fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah.
Just send the message.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to set that time aside. Like that has to be like part of your day-to-day thing. And it's a numbers game, right?
Yes.
The more messages you send, the more yeses you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm really into habit stacking. Have you read Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
So good. I just love being like time efficient. So in my calendar, every day at 1 o'clock, there is an hour and it says walk. And then every night at 9 o'clock, there is an hour that says bath, because I need to chill the fuck out. So there are 2 things that I need to do. But while I'm doing that, while I'm walking, I send my DMs or I send my voice notes and I make sure everything's followed up. And then when I'm in the bath, I do the same thing. I'm not going to lay in a bath for longer than 2 minutes without being bored. But it's like that habit stacking. Actually, I feel really good when I get out of the bath and I've followed up like 40 messages. And people are like, oh God, sorry, I haven't, I didn't see that, or thanks for following up. So do it every single day.
Yeah.
Like put it in your calendar and commit to it. Even you don't have to do an hour. Like I do 2 hours a day because I see the value in it and I've got a lot of things that I'm working on, a lot of people I need to follow up. Do 10 minutes a day.
Like, I love how we do the same, walk and bath. They're the 2 things as well. Like you really are who you hang around with.
But it's such a good way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Right, where can people follow you, connect with you, all the things?
So my skin clinic is called The Face Tonic. Our Instagram is at The Face Tonic. And my mentor page is at Kat Martin, KatMartin Ltd.
Amazing. I absolutely love you. Thank you for coming on.
I love you so much. I'm so glad that I met you and you're in my life.
Oh, I adore you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys love this show as much as we did, please go and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the podcast. But please make sure that you just take a photo off your phone while you're listening, pop it on socials, tag me and Kat, and we'd be really grateful. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.